Hi everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to today's live. It's me, Ngozi. I am based in Houston, Texas. It's going to be just me today. But I just wanted to quickly jump on today and talk to y'all since we weren't able to go live last Tuesday and talk about my experience in San Antonio this weekend. All right, so if you can see, I'm still repping, have my hat on. It was a very emotional night for me and day. I had to take partly a mental health day, but life goes on. So unless you've been living under a rock or you're just not into sports, the Final Four, the men's college basketball Final Four, was held in San Antonio this weekend, and it's just crazy how quickly time goes because I planned this in January, like got like the hotel, and I just feel like it just came up so quick. So we talk about like exploring different parts of our states, and like traveling is not only getting on a plane or going to another state or going to another country. There's an inside running joke about me never making it to Austin yet. So I was like, this is an opportunity for me to visit another major city in Texas, San Antonio. And I was shocked because I didn't even know that San Antonio has a larger population than Dallas. I didn't know that. So I'm about to go through some stats with y'all real quick to just share some things about San Antonio that I didn't know, what I learned being there, and just my overall experience there and how it compares to Houston. I did try and do an apartment tour, but it just didn't work out. It just wasn't enough time. So I wasn't able to do that maybe next time. But make sure you guys like this video, share, and I'm going to get into it. All right, so everybody knows, let me not say everybody, but it's obvious, not that it's obvious, but Houston is a major city, right? It's number 4 right now with a population, I believe at 2.5 million. No, okay, 2.3 million. Is projected to pass Chicago, which is at 2.6 million, like by like 2030. So Houston is a very big city. A lot of issues that people talk about, traffic, dating, cost of living, crime, they're not necessarily particular to Houston. Some of them are, yes, but a lot of them are particular to just being in a larger city, right? There's certain things that you just are exposed to when you're in a large city. San Antonio, which I said I didn't realize till today doing research for, excuse me, for this video, is the sixth largest city in America. Number 6. So, number 1 is New York, of course, LA, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix, and then San Antonio. So San Antonio is only 2 below Houston with a population of 1.5 million people. Okay, we talk about size wise, right? It's about 500 miles squared, and Houston is 640 miles squared. So it's more than double the size of Chicago. It's bigger than LA, about 20 square miles larger, and it's bigger than New York City. So you learn something every day. And of course, Dallas is number 9 in population. So after San Antonio is Philadelphia, 7, 8 San Diego, 9 is Dallas, 10 is Fort Worth, 11 is Jacksonville, and 12 is Austin. And I'll just continue a little just to be fair. 13 is San Jose, 14 is Charlotte, North Carolina, and 15 is Columbus. So those are the top 15 populated cities. So I wouldn't even think offhand that San Antonio was bigger than Charlotte. Like for some reason, I just feel like San Antonio was just like a very small city, like just nestled there. So that's the thing I always say about, I'm a little biased. Hi, thanks for joining. Make sure you like the video. Is that I personally, like I say, I don't see myself leaving Texas like in the near future, but never say never, anything can happen. But I always say that Texas just has a lot to offer. There's so many like cities, like big cities within Texas. I listed down the top 15, 4 of the cities are in Texas. Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston. Actually, it's 5 because Dallas and Fort Worth are not the same, even though they're referred to as the same. They're 2 separate cities. So it's Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Austin. 5 cities in the top 15 cities population wise in America. So if you don't like Houston, you can go to Dallas, you can go to Austin, you can go to San Antonio. So about San Antonio, I've read some stuff before going there, and a lot of people kept saying like it has like a very large Spanish population, which is true. About 65% of the population is Hispanic and 7% is Black, right? So that's very different from a city like Houston, which is, I mean, Hispanic is coming up about 44%. And the thing is that being Hispanic is not a race, right? So even when you fill out forms, you'll see if they'll say like, what's your ethnicity, Hispanic, Hispanic slash Latina, yes or no? Because you can be a white Hispanic, you can be a black Hispanic, you can identify in many different ethnicities and still be Hispanic. But nonetheless, yeah, Houston's about like 22% black. So of course we have a larger black population here. And San Antonio has a larger Hispanic Latino population. Something that stuck out to me was just the time that things close. So the Final Four was held at the Aladome, which is by like the Riverwalk, like the touristy center, like where like everything is happening. And I made a reservation like for 9:45, being ambitious. They called me that day. I just had to cancel it like earlier because I'm like, I don't think I think it's gonna be too early for like one of like their top restaurants. I just wanted to see like what their food scene was like. And the latest reservation they had was 9:45. So even when she called me, because I kept ignoring like the text, I was like, 9:45 is the latest reservation. She was like, yeah, because we close at 10. And I was looking at a lot of their popular restaurants on Open Table, and they all closed at 10, like latest like 10:30. It was very weird to me because I'm like, this is a major city. It's a Saturday. How are restaurants closing at 10? And I was telling my Uber driver, this guy, he had me cracking up. I'm telling my Uber driver about this while I was driving to the Aladome for the game. And then he was like, yeah, I won't even lie. Like the good places, the food, the restaurants close early. And he was from Dallas. So he was telling me about, the things that San Antonio has to offer. Like he's been there like 7 years, the differences from Dallas, why he moved here, all these things. Even seeing like the news, like on the TV, like all the anchors are like Hispanic. Like, it was just very different, like it was very interesting. You could tell like they have a very like strong Hispanic influence because they have a large population there. And they have like a big event, the Fiesta. I believe it's next month that people kept talking about, and like that's like I guess like a good time to visit. Like where there's like it's like a 13-day festival where they have like a lot of activities and things going on. So he was like, "Yeah, come back next month. I'll help you find a place." I'm like, "Okay, nah, I'm okay." But yeah, so that's what I noticed. Like I'm just like every time I travel and I go to another, if Nano's hair should be rolling her eyes. Every time I travel and I go to another city, it makes me miss and appreciate Houston even more. Like on God. Like I'm not trying to even like brag. I'm not trying to do too much. I'm not being dramatic. It makes me like realize how much we take for granted being here. Because if you've lived here for a while, anything in life you get used to it, right? And certain things just become your standard. So when you go certain places and you're like, oh, they don't have this, well, Houston has this. They don't have that, well, Houston has this. You'd be like, despite people saying like, why is everybody like moving to Houston? Why y'all coming here? It's full. Like, there's a reason people are coming here because Houston does have a lot to offer. It really, really does. So I definitely understand. Yep, it does low key sound like Charlotte. What question? What do you like about Houston versus San Antonio or Dallas and dislikes? Okay. So to be fair, San Antonio, this is my first time there, and I literally spent like 24 hours. I didn't spend long there. And where I was staying, the hotel was like in a suburb of San Antonio because all the hotels that were like in the Riverwalk area that were like walking distance from the Aladome had like a minimum stay because of the Final Four, the basketball stuff. So I was staying in Selma. And it kind of reminded me how like they have like these suburbs, even Dallas, like all these Texas big cities. A lot of people don't live in the proper city, right? Especially families. Even my Uber driver was saying, "Oh, if you want to see like the black people, most of them are in San Antonio, but like the nicer places are outside of San Antonio." So there's like shirts, like there's like a few suburbs I was driving through like to get to San Antonio. So I'm just saying, it reminded me of how like Dallas, Houston, like they have like a lot of suburbs that are right outside the city that are like, nice, have like nice houses, a lot of things going on, but like people will still refer to it as the city because it's like what's the word? It's the city, what's the word they use for it? It's the metro area, right? But it's not like the proper city. So that was like something that was similar across all of them. Houston, I like the diversity. I like the food. I like the energy. I like the opportunities. I just feel like Houston is just a vibe. San Antonio was pretty. Even like going to the Riverwalk and like seeing the little that I did see. Even my friend was talking about how like it's very scenic. San Antonio, from what I can see, is very like pretty. We talk about like in videos how Houston is not like the prettiest city, to be honest. Like you're not getting those views. Like, yeah, there's a few places off certain highways that look nice, certain areas that they're fixing up, but it's just not that like scenic city. I feel like San Antonio seemed a bit pretty from what I can see. And then Dallas, I like that I think I like Dallas. What would I say I like about Dallas? I like that Dallas is like kind of like I'm in between. So I understand for like Houston, some people is like too much, but like from going, even just seeing somewhere like San Antonio, I feel like I don't think I can live somewhere like that. Like it's too calm. So I feel like Dallas is like that medium where like they have stuff, like it may not be on Houston's level, but it's like this they still have a lot to offer. They have a lot of businesses, they have a lot of industry. It's still like a very bubbling big city, but it's in my opinion, it just doesn't have as much to offer. There's actually a lot of conversations on threads. A lot of people comment. It's always popping up for me. In my opinion, Houston is funner than Dallas, or Houston has more to offer than Dallas, and it's like people be going back and forth. And, Houston always wins. But yeah, that's what I would say. But it was just nice seeing another part, another major city, and like really getting out there because you always say I'm going to go here, I'm going to go do this. Everyone joining, thank you all for joining. I'm recapping my weekend in San Antonio. Make sure you like this video and share it. All right. So we talk about like planning trips and there's so much to do, but sometimes it just gets very overwhelming, even just starting, like booking the reservation. So what I've noticed, especially for people who want to start like exploring their city more, exploring this America more. I've been to Miami this year. I've never been to Miami before. So this may be my year of American exploration, just going to places, traveling to new places. It's always easier to do it when you tie it to a major event. It's always easier to do it when you tie it to something that's happening. Like right now, I went for the Final Four. So if I was just saying, "Oh, I'm going to go to San Antonio for a weekend," like I've been saying for Austin for 3 years, like it's easy for just to push off. It's easy to just be like, okay, next month, oh, I'll do it later, I'll do it later, and you never do it. But when you look at like a festival or like an event or like a concert that's happening somewhere that you've always wanted to go, and then just book it around that, I find that that makes it easier, and you have less of a it's harder to back out or just cancel. Like you're more committed, right? So San Antonio is about a 3 hour drive. It was a little over 3 hours because some traffic going there. It's about 200 miles from Houston, right? And I went to the Alamo, which is like, I don't know, I'm gonna get a little quick history right now. Texas was like Texas used to be a part of Mexico, right? So Texas became March 1836. It became the Alamo. Something about the Alamo. Something about a war. Let me not misspeak too much. I was like reading all the stuff. It became like it's like an independent state, something along those lines. And then 10 years later, 1846, it became a part of America. So there's a lot of history. I even learned like why Houston is named Houston after some general or commander in the army, Sam Houston. And this area is where like he like won some battles or something. Even like Austin is after Stephen F. Austin. San Antonio, I forgot there's reasons why they named these cities, right? So it's really interesting going to the Alamo, seeing like the history, seeing like the structure or like what's left of it during that war era. Yeah, so it's a really pretty city, I would say. Like it's really pretty. The Riverwalk area is not as big as I expected it to be, but like I did like the boat ride where you're able to, ride like through like the waters about like 4 feet deep and just go through like that Riverwalk area. So that was really nice and cute. So they made a lot of money. I'm not even gonna lie. This weekend, like it was packed. It was lit. Like so many people. The energy. Like quick, I have to get to the game on Saturday because Houston won that game, and at a point in the second half, they were down 18 points, and then it was just like the last 30 seconds. It was a three, a steal, a one-on-one, and they ended up winning against Duke. And when I tell you the energy in the Aladome, the way I was screaming, all the Houston fans were screaming, Saturday night. I know if I was in Houston, it was like craziness. So it was just so great, like experiencing that like in real time and seeing that game, right? So the final game was yesterday, like I mentioned. Houston lost by, was it two or three? I don't want to get too into it because I'm still a bit emotional about it. But yeah, it was a crazy last few seconds. But I wasn't able to stay till then because it was just too much going on, and I'll have to come back today. And so I was like, let me just do it like the one night is better than zero, right? Because that's another thing that stops people from traveling is like you feel like you have to do it the whole thing or you want to do it this certain type of way, but sometimes just do what you can do and just check it off the list. So Mia said, is Houston more like Atlanta or better? Similarities and differences. Um, there are definitely some similarities. I think people refer to, excuse me, Houston and Atlanta as like cousins, but they're definitely similar. But I'm biased. I won't lie. I've been to Atlanta a few times. I prefer Houston, but I do appreciate certain things about Atlanta in terms of like them having like a large black population and having a lot of well-to-do black people, having a lot of nice establishments. Um, yeah, they're similar, but I wouldn't say they're not the same to me at least. There's some stark differences, but they are similar in terms of like being like party cities, having like, that lifestyle, women like looking a certain type of way, being into like cosmetic surgeries. That's the look, the quote unquote scammers, the nightlife. So I think that's more what people think of when they're comparing Houston and Atlanta, like that the nightlife more of. I think that's where it comes from. But in terms of like diversity and that, I don't nah, there are some differences. Michael Olasupo. I think I've met. Have you moved yet, Michael? Or are you still in New York or is it New Jersey? Hi. What is the best location for blacks in Houston? I think it depends. Like when you say blacks, are you talking about just black people in general? Are you talking about Nigerians? Like, I think it depends in terms of what, like in terms of being around other black people, I'm assuming what you're saying, or is it in terms of safety? Is it in terms of cost of living? Is it in terms of, yeah, I would need to be specific. I could tell you where a lot of black people live. Um, especially like I feel like a lot of Nigerians live in like the southwest part of Houston. Um, in terms of just black people in general, I feel like it's, let me not say spread out because I know there's areas that you're only mostly going to see white people. So let me not say that it's spread out, but I do think that we are somehow spread out. Like I feel like we're everywhere. Like, but Southwest is what comes to mind where a lot of black people live. Okay, you're still in NJ. What are you waiting for? Every year prices are going up. Buy a house and move, or get your apartment, whatever, and move to Houston. But yeah. So what else about San Antonio before I forget? I think I had something yeah, so it made me think and understand because I'll be honest, I like I said, I know I'm naturally biased because I live in Houston, but I never really hear of someone saying, "Oh, I'm moving to San Antonio." Like someone I know or like a family member or like a friend. Like I've never heard that. And I can understand why, especially being a person of color, being a black person. I can see why. And what I also learned is that San Antonio is closer to Mexico, so they have a large Mexican population. Is it about a 3 hours from one of the borders? So it makes sense why they have a higher Hispanic population as well. But yeah, San Antonio, it did the similarities was like the setup, how we talk about like in Houston, how there's a lot of like what is it called? Many shopping plazas or where like people, like the way it's set up, it was like literally looked like Houston, like how you have like those strips. What are they called? Whatever strip malls. They had like that same type of setup. So that reminded me of Houston. But even the highways driving through was really pretty. Like it was definitely scenic. And they were doing like a lot of construction in the areas that I was driving through. So it seems like a it seems like a cool city. There were a lot of homeless people walking through that Riverwalk area, and I think that, like we talk about, is something that is just common with being in a city. A lot of major cities, a lot of cities with a large population, they do struggle with homelessness. So it's unfortunate and it's pretty sad. And but there was a lot of I saw that yeah, I saw a lot of that in the downtown area. And like I said, it's usually in the downtown areas where you see a lot of homeless people congregate. So that was expected. Excuse me, let me drink some water. But if you all have any questions, leave them down below. And does anyone live in San Antonio that wants to join? I know we have one subscriber. I haven't seen her comment in a long time. Regina, I think yeah, she's in San Antonio. Regina, are you watching? Join. Just to be honest, I'm really curious about the Black experience in San Antonio because I won't even lie. I was trying to go out Saturday night. I brought clothes, I brought makeup. I just got in way too late after the game. It was so much traffic. I couldn't make it. But I was really trying to go, like, was Googling stuff and even just seeing like their lounges and seeing their stuff. I was like, this looks very interesting. Like, it just didn't really have a lot that was coming up on Google. They may be the, the undercover spots or the spots that people know, but based on like my research on Google, it really was not a lot there. And even my Uber driver was saying, like, I was like, where do they have like the black food, like the good stuff? He was like, the issue with those areas, like you can't go there late because they're not that safe. I wouldn't advise you to go there at a certain time. Or even like as an accent, like, where do people really hang out? And he wasn't really like giving me answers. So I'm just like, is it that they just don't have stuff like that? Or maybe he feel like I'm not gonna like the stuff that he likes because he was a bit older. But like in terms of I was looking for like that vibe. And like I said, that's me asked earlier about like Houston and Atlanta. I think that's what really sets them apart. I would say Houston, number one, Atlanta for sure, DMV, and Houston is that they're cities with excuse me, a large black population, and they have like a black scene, and that's something that I feel like a lot of times you take for granted if you're used to living those in bigger cities like that, because a lot of cities do not have that. Like, they don't have like that established black scene. They don't. Question: before you moved to Houston, did you research the city a lot? And what? Oh, I didn't put it up. Before you moved to Houston, did you research the city a lot? And what is your top three cities in Texas for blacks to move to? I did, and I visited like before I moved to San Antonio. Did I visit? I visited the first time October, November, December, and then UIU was all four times. I honestly researched, but I didn't research as much. Our number one video, what I wish I knew before moving to Houston, Texas. I'll try and tag it in the chat. People commenting, you didn't do your research. How you didn't know about traffic? How didn't know about this? Because I visited during the pandemic, so things were different. I never visited Houston during the real Houston. Like, the real Houston is like before the pandemic, like 2017, 2018. People talk about 2015. When I talk to people that have been here for a while, they talk about stories. I'm just like, wow. Like, I mean, it was still, I've still had fun here, but like, it was different back then. So I can't relate to that because I moved here in 2022. Um, what are your top three cities in Texas for blacks to move? It's definitely Houston, Dallas, and probably Fort Worth. I've never been to Austin. I haven't been there yet, but from what I've researched and what I've seen, it's not that it's not as it doesn't have as much black people, and it's same with San Antonio. So, and like I said, it all depends on what you're looking for. For some people, it doesn't bother them. They don't mind. They don't need. They as long as they're getting what they want. And I wouldn't say it's just because they don't have that large of a black population. It's really because the cost of living. Austin is very expensive. It's very expensive. Like, all the big tech companies from California are trying to come there and all that stuff. So Austin's cost of living, housing, rental is high. And I met a girl last year at my friend's baby shower, and she was living there for a while. She had divorced. She moved to Houston, and I was telling her, like, I want to visit Austin. I maybe I wouldn't even mind living there. She's like, no, you don't want to live there. And even my friend went there for Afrotech, and she kept talking about how much diversity it lacked and how she was somewhat uncomfortable there. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy because, like, me personally, I've learned, especially when you go out with people and making like more friends. I'm not to say that race or color is not important to me. I don't enjoy being around my people, but I'm the type of person, like, if I like something or I want or I like what it's offering me, I can look past those other things to an extent. Like, I don't feel like I have to go somewhere like I'm not explaining. Okay, this is a better way to sum it up. I don't necessarily feel uncomfortable if there's no other black people where I'm going, as long as they're not treating me badly, right? Or as long as they're not giving me bad, nasty stares or like calling me like the N word or something, like I don't mind. Like I can go somewhere and it's not a lot of black, and I feel comfortable as long as I'm getting what I want. But I've noticed a lot of people are not, and understandably so, because we are a minority, right? And there's certain things you're looking for, especially being like a black person and also being Nigerian, right? Like if you want your food, if you want to go to your establishments and hear your music, and that's why a place like Houston is always going to be number one, despite it having its own issues and challenges, and it's not perfect. Trust me, nowhere is perfect. But I understand why a lot of like Nigerians particularly gravitate here, because it really caters to us, right? There's a lot of you can get your food easily. You can how many African market, even in the suburbs, they have African markets. And for people who are like Michael, who is in New Jersey from our city, so I can give an example. It's like you going to it's like you going to like um let me say like what was it like it's like you going to Union, or you going to West Orange, or going to Livingston, and you going to an African market. Like from what I know, New Jersey's changing every day. I've seen the new lounges and restaurants they're opening there. But from my experience living in New Jersey, the African stores were like in the urban areas, because that's where a lot of the Africans live. So like Newark, Irvington, East Orange, Orange. But like here in Houston, you can go to the suburbs like Katy and you're gonna see an African store. You go to Richmond, you're gonna see African stores. Like that just shows you how deep the population is down here and how they're catering to us, right? So I definitely understand why people are moving here, right? Why did I pick Houston, Austin, Texas? Great question. Because before I was moving here, you got the haters. People are like, oh, go to Dallas. It's more upscale. And like I always say, I agree. I do believe Dallas is more upscale. It's not an argument. But I feel like people don't want to say what they're trying to say without saying it. I feel like when people say Dallas is more upscale, is because it's whiter. Like that's just it. Like I don't see anything else that you're saying that is more upscale. Like it just has a larger white population. I think that's what people are trying to get at when they say that, but they don't want to say it without saying it, right? So I agree. But I didn't know anyone in Dallas. Like I didn't have any like proper friends in Dallas. I didn't have a family member, whether it's close or extended, nobody. So we talk about this all the time on this live. Unless you are very extroverted and you have the personality for it, I do not advise anyone moving somewhere where they don't know anyone. If you're not moving, caveat, for an in person job or for full time in person schooling. For example, you're moving to Houston and you're going to work at Memorial Hermann Hospital as a nurse. You're moving to Houston and you're going to medical school. You're going to Baylor School of Medicine in the medical center. That's different because you're going to see people every day. You're going to be interacting with people. It's going to be very easy to meet people, and you're not going to feel as isolated. But I work from home. A lot of people work from home. That's why we're able to move after the pandemic. I would not recommend moving somewhere you don't know at least one or two, three people. It's not easy. When I look back, February was 3 years. That'll help me pin these videos that I keep referencing, or we'll put it in the description box of this video. So after the video, I can hit all of them. I did my 3 year update 2 months ago. It's crazy. We're already in April. I don't know if I could do this again. I'll be honest with you. Moving is not easy. Starting all over is not easy. Building a community is not easy, especially somewhere you don't know anyone. You don't have friends. You don't have family. Like it's starting all over. For me to wake up and say, "Oh, I'm moving to San Diego." Like what? Huh? For what? For what? Like, I don't like I can't I'll be honest, I can't do it. Like I would have to have a serious reason, like a crazy job, like even to do it for a man. I'm telling you, people think I'm lying. I'm saying that when I'm joking when I say even to do it for a man, to pick up and leave and go start all over again. It's not easy. I don't know if I could do it. On God, I can't. I can't. Like it would be hard. So I don't recommend. To answer your question, Mia, that is the reason why I picked Houston because I knew a few people. I have a few like extended family members here, and I've been here before a couple of times, So at that point, I only have been to Dallas one time. So that's another factor too, right? I say all the time, before you move somewhere, I understand money is tight, but you about to go and pick up your whole life and move somewhere, you got to visit. And I would recommend visiting more than once. Houston gets hot in the summer. Visit in July or August. For the people that are anti-heat, they don't like summer, they don't like being hot, visit in July and August and get the real heat to make sure that you can live in a hot climate. Yesterday was like 50 degrees. Today is even cold. It's historic lows this past few weeks, and it's April. I say all the time, Houston only is really hot like July, August. Like it gets hot, yeah, but for me, like I said, I have a high heat tolerance. It's not, it's not like anything crazy, right? So for me, but I know it does get hot. I'm not gonna lie. So that's for example, someone that really don't like heat, I can see why you go somewhere like Dallas. Dallas is like 10 degrees cooler. Like it gets like every time I go to Dallas, I'll be like, wow, like I feel the difference. Like Dallas is cooler, significantly cooler than Houston, right? So that's the link from 3 year update, and we'll put it in the comment section. But yeah, so um yeah, I think it just really depends. Um let me see. I don't think Dallas is that much wider than Houston. I think we've looked at this before. Hi, Ola Debbie Azazi. I have the Bureau of Statistics up for San Antonio and Dallas comparing them. So and Houston. So let me just add Dallas, Texas, so I can see Dallas. Dallas is white, 41% white, 41.9. No, what am I looking at? This is Dallas, 41.9. Yes, 41. So it's 41.9, 42%. Houston's 35%. Dallas is 23% black, 23.7, Houston's 22.9. So basically they do have the same black population. Like they basically have the same amount of black people. But Dallas does have more white people. And I feel like that's the difference, right? Like I think that's what makes Houston stand apart from, like I say, from my experiences going to Dallas. I've been to Dallas a lot of times. And this is the conversation that I see a lot on threads, is that I'd be shocked that Dallas has the same amount of black people as Houston. I'm really shocked because every time I go to Dallas, I just feel as if they don't cater to black people in the same way that Houston does. So I wouldn't know, or I wouldn't, like, if I didn't see the numbers before and we don't do this, this content and this work and do these type of videos we do, I wouldn't know that Dallas has even more black people than Houston, because they just don't have the social scene, the environments, the way that Houston has. And like that's why I said, Mia said earlier, talked about Atlanta. That's why Atlanta and Houston are always like talked about in conversations, because it's not that they just have more black people, because I can name you cities that have more black people than Atlanta. Is it Detroit, Michigan? There's cities that have a higher black population even than Atlanta, but they don't have the establishments Atlanta have. They don't have the restaurants. They don't have the venues. They don't have the events. They don't have the places. So it's not about just the numbers. It's also making a decision to create these establishments and build it up so that black people have a space. And that's what Atlanta, number one, I'll give that to Atlanta, and then Houston number two, or maybe DMV number two, and then Houston number three. Actually, maybe Houston number two. I haven't been to DMV in a while though, but that's what I can say offhand. Atlanta, Houston, and DMV do very well. They cater to black people. Dallas, from what I've seen and from what I've experienced, they don't. Not on our level. They don't. So that's why people in Dallas be in Houston on the weekends, or they be coming here when things happen, because we have a lot here, Okay, Mia, do it make a difference because you like your city versus someone that don't like their city? Of course, in terms of like how you view it, or like what you mean, like moving. Can you be specific on me? And when you talk about this, does it make a difference because you like your city versus someone that doesn't? And you talk about in the context of wanting to move, or is it your question before why I picked it? Because I want to make sure I'm answering your question correctly. Gino, hey Gino. I love the heat. Oh my God, I can't wait for the weather to get wet, for the weather to get warmer here in STL, Missouri. Yeah, STL, that's Midwest, right? For people that say they don't like the heat, I'm like, y'all like the cold? I'll take the heat any day. The Midwest, oh my gosh. Even at Chicago, I've never been to Chicago. I'm actually was invited this summer. I may just go. This is gonna be my year of going to traveling throughout America more. But even that's the thing about Chicago, third largest city. A lot of people from Chicago moved to Houston, a lot of people. And one of the major reasons is that weather. I've heard about Chicago winters, very brutal. You couldn't pay me enough. I don't like the cold. Mm-mm. I don't like it's in the 50s. Yeah, and it's April. I do not like cold weather. No, y'all can have that moving wise. So do you think it makes a difference because you like a city where someone doesn't like the city in terms of wanting to move somewhere else? Okay. Moving wise. Of course, not there's a lot of people that are here that don't like it. I talk about my moving here and being in Facebook groups, and like I mentioned, a lot of it is part of it is moving after the pandemic. Like I said, it's a very different experience moving to these cities after the pandemic because people were displaced, people were isolated, they weren't going into work, they're working remotely. So people's sense of community and their social life was altered. So imagine you move to a new city and like you can't really go out, you're not meeting people. I can imagine how difficult that was for a lot of people. So there are a lot of people who never really got over that hump and they never really met people or they met people and they didn't have a good experience, right? So I'm blessed. I won't lie. Like, I'm not saying I haven't had like a few, I've had a few not so favorable experiences, but overall, I've had a good experience in Houston. So, of course, it's going to be why I, advocate for it more, why I'm always like, yes, one of our subscribers finally moved. I was thinking about her because I last spoke with her in September and I emailed her like last Thursday. It just came on my mind. Like, did you make it here? And she's like, yes, I just moved last week. I love Houston. I saw that today. And the response, it just made my heart so full. Like, I'm just so happy that she's like likes it and she found value from this content and she's really enjoying her experience. But yeah, not everybody does, and that's everywhere, right? Like, and like I said, there's always so many factors, and like talked about this, I made a thread about it that went viral. I talk about this all the time on our content. From what I've seen, people who usually don't like their city is not necessarily the city in itself, is their lack of community. I'm telling you, that's the trend that I've seen with people who don't really care, don't really like where they're living. I speak about that even coming from New Jersey. I don't know, Michael, if you could relate to this, but I say all the time, New Jersey. I'm doing all these credits this month to keep my license there. I was talking to my mother about this weekend. I said I can live in New Jersey again. That's where I'm from. But the main reason why one of the main reasons why New Jersey was just blah, like I didn't have that sense of community anymore. Like my close people, even my sister, they have moved. I was really struggling to like meet friends. The friends that I ended up making like before I really moved down here, they're down here now. It's not one or two, it's three. It's two. They moved after me, right? I was just with one of them yesterday. So that's just to show you one, both from New York. So that's just to show you, like, if I had like that really strong knit community up in New Jersey, I may have not liked the cold. I would have gotten over it, traveled, go to the heat. I would have managed it, but I just didn't have that sense of community that I was going for on top of a bunch of other things. So, and location is important. Don't get me wrong, but what I've noticed is that it's really your community, your social life that impacts that has a big impact on your experience in the city. It's just deeper than going to the most lit city or going to the funnest city or going to the city where they have this and that. If you don't have people, you don't have a network, you're going to be limited. This is coming from someone that goes out by themselves, who can do a lot by themselves, who can go anywhere by themselves. There's still going to be a limit on how much you can do by yourself and how much you can enjoy. You're going to enjoy your city. Can't wait to move out of Cincinnati. I'm leading toward Dallas. Oh, nice, Toby. Been a while. Hope you're good. So why Dallas? Why not San Antonio? Why not Houston? I think we've had this conversation before in one of our lives, but yeah, I always say I feel like you can't go wrong with any city in Dallas. I'm biased, but of course, Houston is not for everyone. I get it. I understand that, but Texas overall just has a lot to offer. Mackie Samuels, what are your goals for moving? What's most important to you in terms of quality of life? Suburban living or living in the city? Living as a single person as a married couple with children? So this is a question you're posing, Mackie, and I think this is really important. Like I said, and it really you have to be real about your why and what are you expecting and have realistic expectations as well. We talk about moving and this escapism some people have. A lot of people also move because they're just looking for a way to escape maybe some situations or some issues they have where they're coming from. And moving, I've heard this somewhere, read this somewhere, moving legit could be a life hack. like legit could be a life hack. If you see people leave one location where things are really going for them and they move somewhere else and things just start like up, 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 like they just start seeing it like just an upward trend overall. So a lot of times it can be your location keeping you stagnant, but sometimes it's deeper than your location. Because if you don't do the work, if you don't get down to the why, if you don't get down to, a lot of things that you may be struggling with, jumping around the world, your country is not necessarily going to fix it. So you need to be real about why you're moving. Like, what are you trying to get from this? Your issues, of course, your issues follow you no matter where you go. And a lot of people move and they realize they're getting the same patterns. They're having the same issues with friendships. They're having the same relationships with men. They're having the same relationships with work. They're having the same issues with work. And it's like, just because you move somewhere new, if you keep doing the same old stuff, nothing really changes, right? You have to make those changes. So I'm an advocate of, starting all over and moving somewhere, especially when you're younger and it's easier, but also don't forget your why, right? Don't forget your why. Gino said, New Jersey, New York would be too cool for me. Even Chicago's colder than here. Chi-Town's called the Windy City. Yeah, New Jersey, New York, just me. And I thought, yeah, Chicago, I think is colder than New Jersey. Yeah. So imagine that. I'm good. I think because Dallas is segregated than Houston, I could see that because that's what I said. Maybe because when I go to Houston, like when I've been to Dallas and then when I've gone out, it's either really white or it's really black, right? And I'm not to say Houston has that some of those issues too. I feel like every city besides probably like Atlanta and even like you know what I mean. Even Atlanta, no, let me not even say Atlanta because Atlanta is super segregated. Like a lot of major cities have that issue because you have a lot of venues and people go to where they're comfortable and you have a lot of options. So it's like you don't have to necessarily mix with people if you don't want to. The Hispanic people can go to their stuff and the white people can go to their stuff and the black people go to their stuff and the Asian people go to their stuff. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Everything doesn't have to be integrated. We're allowed to have our own spaces if that's what we want and desire, as long as we're not telling somebody they can't come into it, as long as we're not pushing people out. If it's more of a personal segregation, I'm okay with that. That's fine. But it's definitely Dallas definitely gives me segregated vibes. I just feel like every time I went there, gone out there, even like for example, there's like this area in Dallas where what is it called? Where the Tulu is. We have a Tulu in Houston. And there's a Tulu in Dallas. And like there's an area where they have like all the restaurants. They have like a Lululemon. There's like that strip. They have like all the nice, it literally is like the River Oaks district. So like when I go there, when I used to go there and walk around that area, even River Oaks district can give a little bit like, uppity, but I always see black people when I go there. Even though they're given that uppity, they have Hermes store, you have Patek, you have all like these nice stores. Black people be in the River Oaks district. Like me and my girl, let me even message. Even I don't see. I need to message her. Like, where are you? Even when we went one day, we went there. Oh my god, it was so much fun last July. I got some bad news, and we ended up going there, and we met these Angolan, these Angolan guys. We ended up having dinner with them at Bari. It was so much fun. Let me message her. I mean, let me make sure she joins. It was so much fun. And it's like we be seeing black people when we go there, right? But I feel like from my experience, whenever I used to go there, it was very white. Like it's just like, oh yeah, we none of us are really around here. This is not really where we frequent like that. So I definitely think that's the thing. Houston just gives me Atlanta part two plus the hurricanes and flooding for me. Atlanta part two in terms of what? Because we talked about it. Is it about like the nightlife? And I guess and there's a lot of conversation going on online about that because I'm not going to sit here and deny that Houston is a party city, but I'm telling you when I think about Houston, like I just feel like Houston has so much to offer other than party. Like I feel like it's crazy. I'm telling you, I've talked about this trucker, the girl I watched one of her videos earlier this year, and we shouted her out on one of our lives. I can't remember her name. She's a trucker, and she moved to Houston. She had a video about it, and she was like, if you're moving to Houston for fun or for partying, don't do it because it's going to get old. And it never came to my mind that people would relocate to a city because of partying and clubbing. But then it kind of makes sense, right? Because it's a part of like social life. Excuse me, let me drink some water, y'all. I've been talking a lot. I'm solo today, so I'm getting parched. It never came to my mind that people would relocate to a city for partying. But then, like I said, it kind of does make sense because that's part of like the social life and like having fun. But yeah, definitely don't relocate for that, especially if you like 30 plus, even like 27 plus. That stuff gets old. I haven't even, I was thinking about that. I've never been to a day party in Houston. Every Saturday there's part. I've never been to a day party here. Oh, this club things are changing frequently for people that know O2. O2 is no longer O2. There's no more O2, y'all. For the people that know the big African club is something else now. Like things are changing, closing, new things are opening up every week. Like this Houston has so much to offer other than clubbing and partying. Honestly, I went ATV riding in February, y'all. I put up a post on Instagram like, where am I? I was being like extra, like put in like different cities like Utah, DR. You know, people message they thought I was in DR. They thought I was in what's another place that's popular with I put some other country. They thought I was out the country. I was in Houston, ATV riding. So much fun. So much Houston has so much to offer other than partying. Like people need I get why people think that, but it's not true. Okay, Mia. Do the jobs in Houston pay according to the cost of living, people with degrees? And is it easy for people to find a good job in Houston if you have a degree? This is a good one because a lot of people complain about this in videos that I watch while moving to Houston. And it wasn't until I moved to that I truly understood. Houston is big in oil and gas and healthcare. Outside of that, okay, let's say hospitality is big here, right? Because people be outside and people go out. Other than that, a lot of the jobs don't pay well here. A lot of them don't. A lot of people complain about that. Like a lot of the jobs do not pay well here if you're not in those sectors, right? So another thing is that a lot, Texas overall is business friendly, right? So a lot of people here are entrepreneurs. A lot of entrepreneurs in Texas, Houston particularly. If you go out some days, 1 o'clock, like, you just see so many people out. You're like, y'all don't work? No, they work for themselves. Like a lot of people are doing their own thing. So a lot of people do complain about like if you don't have like specific skills, if you don't have like certain qualifications, if you're not in certain sectors, people really struggle. I've watched videos of people that had to leave because of that. Like there's that definitely is a thing. So like I say, you have to look at your industry, right? And make sure that it aligns to living in a place like this. Look at the job opportunities, look at the pay. A lot of people complain about the pay not being competitive here and there not being as many opportunities as you would expect. And that's something that I wasn't privy to honestly until I really moved here and really saw it for myself. And I'm like, yeah. Because even hospitality, I mean, the bottle girls, I'm about to pick up a part-time gig. The bottle girls, they making money. I'm seeing what they making. I need a per diem, and the ones I'm looking for not hiring. So I'm about to go be a bottle girl. Y'all could be a bottle girl. I'm gonna wave it like this. And what's it when they put the billboard when I bring the Ace of Spades or the Casamigos to their section, wear my little cute outfit. I feel like I just want to try and see how much money I can make. But the issues are, well, let me not get too into that. But yeah, I'm about to be a bottle girl because they cashing out. Yeah, no one in San Antonio. Nobody wants to call. I'm gonna share the link again because I'm getting ready to wrap up. Yeah, but yeah, Houston has a lot to offer. No, I already said this. You said, yep, that's true. Dallas said they don't. I remember once me and my sister went there. I think it's the first time we went there for um a wedding in 2019, and they said, oh, we were like on this, is it Deeper Ellum? It's like this area. And we were Googling like black owned club. Like that area was it wasn't like us. And the places we were seeing that were coming up on Google were like very far and very sketchy looking. Even when I had a friend before, and when he'd come to Houston, he'd be like, yeah, like the club that I just mentioned to y'all that just closed or that's no longer, O2 anymore. When he went, he was like, yeah, like Dallas does not have anything like this. And mind you, I'm looking at this like this is not anything even crazy. Like it's just, like a regular club. It's like, yeah, we just have like one big club that's like people be fighting inside of it. It's very small and ratchet. Like that was like I don't know the name of it. I've never been in Dallas, but like even on the African side, not even just like just the black overall, like Black America, even on the African side, from what I've seen and what I've experienced, like Dallas, they don't have the spots like we do. You can't even compare. It's not a comparison. Like there's not an argument there. They just don't. They just don't. And that's fine. That's why people say Dallas is more family orientated. It's good for people. Okay, Highland Park Village. You talk about the part where I said the Tulu is, or I'm talking about right now with Deeper Ellum, because I think you may be a little behind. But that's why people always say Dallas is more family oriented. You go there when you want to get married. You want to go there when you want to have a family. And I can see why, because it's more chill. It's more calm. Like, Houston's a lot of rah, 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 rah. Trust me, I know that. But like I said at the time, it's about what you want and what you want to do. I dated a guy who's never been to a club in Houston. He has some other, there may be some other issues related to that, but there's people in Houston, even despite all the hundreds of clubs, they're not going to the club. They don't care for the club, right? So it's not just because you're here, you're going to just start jumping to the club every weekend if you're not a club person. But especially for, our men, I do believe that people are shaped by their environment as well. As much as you like to believe that you like what you like or you don't like what you don't like, your environment also can shape you, right? So if you're someone I've heard people say, yeah, I'm going to Dallas because Houston, I'll get too distracted. I can see that. I can understand that because there's a lot to do. There's always something to do. You can be out to what time every day of the week almost. So if you're not someone with discipline, if you're not someone that has self-control, if you're someone who gets easily distracted, you may not want to come to a city like Houston. I totally understand. Like, that's understandable because there's so much to do. And some people do get distracted, not just even men, women as well. People get distracted. So San Antonio is too inland. Houston is coastal, more close to the rest of the South. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. How's the traffic in Houston? Are things to do far apart? Houston traffic is bad. I'm blessed I don't have to drive in it often, but that's something that I wasn't aware of until I moved here. It's really bad. Like, it literally starts at like 3 p.m. Sometimes even in the twos, and it's literally till it's like 7. Like, it gets real bad here because a lot of people are here now. There's a lot of cars. It's a driving place. Everyone drives. Public transportation is not that great. It honestly is not good. People still do take the bus. When people say, "Oh yeah," some people still don't have the opportunity to drive. Right? Some people don't want to drive, but most people are driving. So the traffic here is, whew. Yeah, that's another reason why I'm like, to get me to go in person, you gotta really paying well because I can't be sitting in that traffic every day. What are the good sections in Houston? What do you mean, like a proper Houston? Areas that I like. Um, I like Montrose. I like River Oaks. I like what's another area? I like that. I like the Buffalo Bio area. What other area would I say that I like? I like, where is that coming to me? Yeah, and there's a lot of suburbs too, right? So I think it just depends. If you're talking about like proper Houston or the Houston suburbs. Houston suburb that I really like is what's the one? It's not coming to my head. It's not Fauquier. I have some houses in it. It's not Katy, it's not Richmond. It's not coming to my head, but I really like it's not too far from Houston. And I like how it's developing. But Houston has a lot of nice areas. There's a lot of nice areas here. It just depends on what you're looking for, what your budget is, what's important to you. Crime is a thing, I'm not gonna lie. They like stealing tires down here, so you gotta be careful where you park your cars and things like that. But we have a lot of nice areas here. But yeah, just to wrap up before I go, Handmaid's Tale came out today, so I gotta go watch my Handmaid's Tale. It's too much going on right now. Let me just read Gino's comments right now. Yes, work from home is better in high traffic. Yes, you can spend easily 2 hours a day in traffic and you literally be going like 20 miles each way. And not that you're driving like 50 miles each way, literally driving 20 miles and spend an hour in traffic. You know how much time you're wasting? Like, no. Mm-mm. No, 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 no. It's not worth it. But yeah, like I said, I'm happy. I was happy I was able to go to San Antonio, check it out, see what it's like. I have a vlog. I was vlogging for y'all. People say vlog, vlog, but when we bring out these vlogs, y'all don't want to watch. So when that vlog hits in the next week or so, make sure you guys like it, you share it. I was like showing how it looks, walking through, showing the areas, seeing what is seeing the scene, the environment. It was a really good experience. So that vlog will be coming out soon. the next city that I have to visit, but I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to jinx it because I don't want my enemies or any of my haters talking. But I'm excited to explore Texas more. Like I say, it has so much to offer, so much to offer, so many cities. So I'm just talking about the major cities, right? There's so many other cities that are here, even within an hour of me, right? That are not San Antonio, Fort Worth, Dallas, Houston, Austin. So many like small towns with developing, have some things going on. So, like I say, you don't have to get on a plane to travel. Contrary to popular belief, I prefer a road trip. Me personally, I don't mind driving. Put on a few podcasts. Time goes by quick. Going to the plane, all that driving, flying be stressing me out a bit. So let me know if you visited San Antonio. I would like to know how your experience was, how it relates to Houston. As you can see, I'm still a Houston guy repping. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining. We might be going live next Tuesday. Always make sure to check our posts, make sure you're subscribed and notifications are on so you get a bell notification whenever we go live. And I will see you all next week, whether in a live or in a video. Bye.